Hello and welcome back to this FINGRAPHS.com podcast on Dukascoin TV. Today we're going to look at cryptocurrencies and especially at Bitcoin and Ethereum. We'll start with a daily graph of Bitcoin. When we came last time, about 2 weeks ago, we were warning that if we were to break below these levels here, which were around 35,000, it could open the door to much lower targets. We are now below these levels, and today we will consider the consequences of such a break. Similarly, we came 2 weeks ago and also we're looking at a possible break below these levels here. We are currently slightly below them, and we'll also consider what this could hold for Ethereum over the next few months. So looking at the daily graph of Bitcoin, we came 2 weeks ago and suggested that if we did break below the 35,000 mark, which was pretty much where support was, it could open the door to much lower targets. We can see here that these lower targets could be towards 28,000, but there's a vacuum of support below these levels, and we could even make it down below 20,000 over the next few months. That's quite an aggressive projection. Let's look at the longer term graph. The longer term graph is the weekly graph of Bitcoin, and as we can see, Bitcoin has been consolidating for now almost a year or maybe a year and a half. And we've had an initial breakdown, a rebound up to the tops, and now we've come down to pretty much break below support, which was around 35,000. Again, this is an opening into our impulsive targets to the downside. These again could calculate possibly below 20,000. At the moment, we're now in a downtrend, as you can see from the bear figurine here, and our risk index is not oversold yet. So we do believe that over the next few months and perhaps the next couple of quarters, there's a lot of risk to the downside on Bitcoin. Shorter term, we look at the hourly graph. So the hourly graph is the price action since pretty much early April. We could see an initial move down, some stabilization, and then a new sell-off. We are currently almost down to our impulsive 2 targets to the downside, so quite oversold. And we're also oversold here in terms of our risk index and in terms of our envelopes touching each other. This means that we expect a rebound over the next few days. This rebound, we believe, could last perhaps 4 or 5 days. And if it did make it above 37 to 38,000, which is pretty much where the envelope is here, we might reconsider our bearish forecast. But if it doesn't, we do believe that we will see further weakness into the end of the month and perhaps into early June, where a more stable intermediate bottom could materialize. We also look at Ethereum, and we can see the break below this support level here. And once we are in this impulsive target to the downside, our targets are towards 1647 and could even justify a move down to below 1000. Again, also as was the case on Bitcoin, we can see that the risk index is still moving lower and it's not oversold yet. So we do believe there's quite a lot of risk on Ethereum over the next few months and possibly over the next couple of quarters. Shorter term, and similarly to Bitcoin, we could look at the hourly graph, which does seem quite oversold at the moment. The risk index is very much oversold. The envelopes are touching each other, which is a sign of stress, and our impulsive targets to the downside have been achieved. So we do expect here a bounce over the next 4 to 5 days. Now, if we do make it above pretty much the levels of our envelope here, so above 2,800, 2,900, we might reconsider our bearish forecast. But we do believe that we'll probably get this 4 or 5 days bounce lower than these levels and then go and retest down towards the end of the month and perhaps early June, where also on Ethereum we expect a more stable intermediate bottom, which could trigger a few weeks of reaction. We thank you very much for your attention and wish you a very good week of trading.